Hello there, welcome back to my Pokemon Omicron full game speedrun commentary video series. So we're about to start part 4, which we're going to be getting into the post Elite Four content, so the Sigil Halls. We're going to be doing the first 3 Sigil Halls here. You can't see it, but it's the next 3 splits on the on my list of splits here. So let's get started. So just finished the Elite Four and gotten my time, but it's not all time for celebration. Now there's a massive explosion that was detected over at Nyasa town. So Mom heals our Pokemon and we head on back. And we encounter our old friend Zeus, so we have to fight him now. And as you can see, he's acquired a legendary Pokemon here. So Zeus, he is a bit different team than last time. He's got 3 Pokemon in his party. Metagross, so we have to set up a Swords Dance. We can only really set up one. And then we have to kill him. Sometimes the Brick Break won't kill, so we'd have to revive and then keep going at it, but we got the kill there, which is good. Next we see the legendary Evis. It too can live a Brick Break, and it did here. And he actually killed us, which is okay. We've got revives. We've got 1 left, so we can just sack a slave and go in here. It's important to know we can actually lose this fight and we don't lose any progress in the story. We lose a bit of money, but we can still carry on. I elect to continue on and finish the guy off. Main reason is I think it's not too much slower to just sack a couple slaves and revive Hawlucha versus allowing all our slaves to die, because we do have 6 of them, or 5 slaves in total. And Shaman isn't guaranteed to die if we don't have a Swords Dance up, but that time he did, so that wasn't too bad. So now we have to move on to Dojron City, which is southeast of Kivu Town. Kivu is where we got our 5th badge from the Ghost Gym. I mentioned in my first video that there's a couple of signs that block off that route, but now that we've beaten the Elite Four, we can exit where we can access that route. So we'll just fly on down there. But first we're going to go to the mart, just pick up a few things for the Sigil Hall section. We're going to buy a few max repels. About 11 of them. A couple more revives, 2 or 3 more, and some hyper potions and full restores. So again, we spend the rest of our money here. This section of the run is actually quite difficult. There's a level cap, obviously. You can only reach so many levels, and then you can't gain any more levels, and we're going to be hitting that cap very shortly. But the Pokemon we're fighting are going to continue to increase in level until they're the same level as us, which is essentially at the level cap. So the fights are going to get really difficult, and there will be a few deaths, most likely, moving forward. So here we just need to dodge a bunch of trainers. All of these guys are optional. Can be a bit tricky. They're all runners. They all move around. We have to surf around this girl, otherwise she'll see us. And we have 1 mandatory fight. We set up a couple Swords Dances here on Raticate. We don't set them up on the Swallow. Obviously, it has moves that are super effective against us. This Raticate can be quite annoying. It knows Double Edge and Endeavor, and it likes to use Double Edge quite a lot, so I have to actually heal in battle here, which is a little annoying. Steelix can have Sturdy, but this time it didn't, which is really good. It's important to know I put the Lucky Egg on for Wilson, who's the last Elite Four member. And because we need the Lucky Egg, we just use the Lucky Egg for the vast majority of the first part of the Sigil Halls, just to get to that level cap as quickly as possible to make the fights go a bit quicker. Here we're introduced to the Elite Four fanboys and fangirls. So the Sigil Halls are essentially like gyms. We're going to have to fight 3 trainers before we fight the Elite Four member again. So the Sigil Halls will actually fighting the Elite Four members for a second time. And it's a little bit of almost pointless storyline, but one of the last trainer we fight in the Sigil Hall is a fanboy. So we're actually fighting one of them here. He's actually technically our stepbrother. He just has a bunch of normal types, so pretty straightforward fight. Just set up a Swords Dance and go nuts with Brick Break. Togekiss is the second Pokemon that comes out. It doesn't die to Brick Break. Obviously, it's part Flying type, so we need to use Rock Slide, and if we miss, it's pretty bad. So the level cap in this game is actually level 120, not level 100, which is kind of interesting, but we're already almost at level 100 anyway. So the goal is to keep the Lucky Egg on as much as possible. We're going to take it off here and there for some fights because we just need a different item on to win the fight. But the goal is just to get to level 120 as quickly as possible. And for that reason, and the reason we do that is because once we hit level 120, we don't gain any more experience points anymore. So there's going to be less fights where we're actually going to see a text box gained, although A gained X experience points. Obviously, we still have a few levels to go before that point, though. So we just stop in that town just to fight Stuart there, and then we're off to another water route. So there's a lot of spinners here we have to dodge, so what I just do is do a quick save right before I cross the vision of each one. And most cases I pass. I like to call this RNG manipulation, since I never get hit by any. I think I actually do get hit by one, but okay, we're good to go. So here we have to actually select which building we want to go to using that sign. So we select the Sigil. So the first 2 trainers in this gym have a similar type Pokemon as the Elite Four member, and Tobias specializes in Dark types. We're going to see a lot of Dark type Pokemon for the first couple fights. The Fanboy generally has a completely different type, which may or may not be a good thing, depending on what type it is. So in these fights, we're going to have to use a few Rock Slides, and obviously sweating a little bit using those, because Mandibuzz is quite deadly if it gets off a brave bird. Especially also if that first poke in this fight uses a Psychic type move, it can do also a little bit of damage. So this fight you can die. But I got through damage list, which is really good. So we're going to need to heal for the next fight, taking a little bit of damage here. That Swords Dance was an accident. That was just... complete mistake. So the first fanboy we're going to face off against is Lillian here. He specializes in poison types, and a lot of his Pokemon are weak to Hawlucha's moves. They're either part grass, part bug, part fighting, so it's a pretty easy fight. However, the lead, Scolipede, has the ability Speed Boost, so every turn it attacks, it gets a boost to its speed, and it can also poison with Poison Jab. We're really hoping to see Baton Pass here. Protect is also really good, because that means no damage. And now we're hoping to see Baton Pass turn 2. I don't think we get it here. No, we got Poison Jab. But didn't get poisoned, so that's really good. So the Sigil Hall final battles, so the Elite Four member round 2 essentially is what this is. They have very similar teams to when they're in the Elite Four. Obviously they're a bit higher level, and their Pokemon are in different orders. This is very, very important for the Tobias fight, because Tobias leads his worst possible Pokemon against us, which is a Honchkrow. The dark flying type bird. We can't set up on him. We have to actually hit him right away. And because of this, we have to take off the Lucky Egg and put on the Expert Belt, because an unboosted Rock Slide is arranged to kill the Honchkrow. We then have to set up on his second Pokemon, which is an Absol. And Absol has the move Psycho Cut, which is a physical Psychic type move. Obviously, we're weak to Psychic type moves, and Absol has the likelihood of having the ability Super Lock, I believe it's called, which boosts its critical hit chance. So we actually do half of our setup on Absol, and we do the other half on Tyranitar. So we'll heal to full, equip the Expert Belt. And Tyranitar has Sandstream, which is wastes a lot of time as well, so setting up on him isn't good. But anyway, yeah, so So he leads Honchkrow. First Pokemon, we have to hit a Rock Slide. If he led any other Pokemon, we probably could keep the Lucky Egg on for the whole, this whole section. But this is what we have to do. So here out comes Absol. So not only does he have that move, he also has a Mega Evolution, so this makes him extremely deadly. So even though he did less than half of our health here, I'm not gonna tempt a critical hit, so I decide just to kill Absol and move on. We don't set up a second Swords Dance on Houndoom because Houndoom has a number of really nasty attacks as well, which can do a lot of damage. Can't remember what they are, but very likely a very powerful fire type move. So then we set up on Tyranitar. So I like to heal first. I probably don't need to do this. I could probably just set it up and then go, because Tyranitar typically uses Rock Slide, but this time he used Giga Impact, which did a fair bit of damage. I would have needed to heal anyway, because Sandstorm damage would have killed, so. But I guess during the recharge turn I could have done that, so probably wouldn't have made too much of a difference in the long run. The main reason why we set up 2 Swords Dances on this fight, we actually only set up 1 in the Elite Four, but we have to set up 2 here, is because his last Pokemon will need 2 hits to kill that. And that Pokemon wasn't in the Elite Four lineup. And that's Spiritomb. So we can't hit Spiritomb with any fighting type moves because he's part Ghost, and rock type moves aren't great because they're not stabs, so we have to use Wing Attack. And we need to have a second Swords Dance up for this. So that fight went fairly well. And we actually got a gold split there, which is pretty good. So that sign that we used to select that we wanted to enter the Sigil Hall, we can actually use this to enter the next route. Just at the bottom there. Now, moving forward, at every single route, every single gym, Sigil Hall, whatever you want to call them, every single fight will give you an extra 1.5 or 50% more experience points. So now with the Lucky Egg we're equipping, we're getting well over double the normal experience points we would get from these Pokemon. So we're going to start to pick up a lot of levels starting on this fight. So most fights we're going to gain 1 level at least, and some even 2. So we just got almost 12,000 from that poke there, which is pretty insane. The last Pokemon will give us almost 20,000, so that's something that you would not expect. Wing Attack to avoid the Sturdy text box. Luckily he exploded, so we actually saved a Brick Break here. He nearly killed us actually, so that's pretty scary. We actually got about 16,000 experience there, so never mind. So here I'm supposed to use a Max Ether on Brick Break, and I got a little confused. Because I actually need 2 Brick Breaks for this fight, and for some reason I had 3. I think it was because my notes were a bit wrong, so that was why that was a bit confusing. This Ninetales can be annoying. He has Confuse Ray. Quick Attack is probably the best thing to see because we know for a fact we're not going to take any damage. Well, any confusion. quite a few trainers in this cave. We can dodge a good chunk of them by just taking a roundabout route here. Save before this trainer. This guy's got 2 birds. We have to set up obviously on the first one. But luckily we don't need to use Rock Slide on the first one because Swallow's pretty frail. We can use Wing Attack after a Swords Dance. This fight has a couple of rock slides, so if this guy leads a heat more, it almost always uses Stockpile, which raises its defense. If it didn't use Stockpile, I probably could Wing Attack at this guy. Otherwise, but I have to Rock Slide him because of the Stockpile. Full Corona can have Flame Body as well. If we get burned, it's no big deal. It's the end of the battle anyway. And we do have to heal the full for the next fight, so... It just makes the difference of using a full Restore versus a Hyper Potion. Dodge a couple trainers here. This girl, we have to set up a couple of X special defense. We have to set up 2 Swords Dances on this Gothitelle, and it knows Psychic. So we have to set up there. It also knows Charm, which is quite irritating because that means we have to use Swords Dance an extra time. That time I only used 1 X special defend because I saw Charm turn 1. I decided to start setting up right away. Now, unfortunately, I only got 2 Swords Dances up, which puts me at +2. I need to be +4. So I had to heal. It was a little bit slow. The main reason we have to set up 2 Swords Dances is because of her last Pokemon. So a lot of the time we're setting up what would seem like a lot. It would be just for 1 Pokemon. So Masharna here is pretty high defense. Does it live? I can't remember if this one lived or not. No, it died. That's good. Next fight is pretty safe, so I usually heal before the next fight, and yeah, I saved, but I actually did need to heal. Because one of her Pokemon knows Extreme Speed, so we don't want to die there. I take that opportunity to restore Brick Break PP, because I will need to use a few Brick Breaks on the next fight after this one. I did have 1 left going into this fight, and I do need 1 for this fight. But I need 2 for the fight after that, so... decided to take advantage of that. And I won't need to heal likely before the next fight anyway, so it made sense to go in the menu once. There's extreme speed. And it did roughly 60 health, so that would have been close to a death if I hadn't healed. Critical would definitely have killed. That trainer's optional. Probably could fight her, but she looks like a psychic trainer, so... Well, actually, no, she might be a cool trainer, not sure. But quick saving and resetting is so fast in this game, it's worth it to just do that rather than take the time loss on the extra trainer. This Ariados can poison, which wastes a lot of time. Didn't get that, so that's really good. The next fight usually isn't too bad, but I will heal the full, just to be safe. The next trainer, he has a Golem, and Golem can have Sturdy. And Golem also knows Explosion. But didn't get Sturdy there. That's good because we will need to heal for the next fight. Actually, I don't think I heal. My health is pretty good, but it's good I didn't take a lot of damage because if my health is low, I will need to heal. So here we see the fanboys have met up with Artemis, which is one of the admins of Team Olympus. We're gonna have to fight her now. Her team is pretty straightforward. If this Stantler has Intimidate, we typically use Brick Break on it. Because Wing Attack may not kill. Although I think it does regardless, but just to be safe. So after this fight, we're going to exit, and we're going to be visiting the second Sigil Hall, which is Corlet Sigil Hall. And if you recall, Corlet rather, is an electric type trainer. So this is probably the most difficult Sigil Hall to get through, other than the last one, of course. So these fights are pretty bad. And the fan girl of this gym, she uses flying types, so that's also bad. So overall, there's a lot that can go wrong. There's a lot of places you can die in the next 4 fights. Very surprised to see that Xatu live. Don't usually see that, so that was very interesting. But it's okay, we're going to be taking the center in the next town. Before we go take the center, we're going to be heading off to this house here. We're going to pick up the rock climb TM. We're going to be teaching that very shortly. When we're in the center here, if our slave can't learn rock climb, we would then deposit him here. But because we have Cubone and Cubone can learn rock climb, we don't need to deposit him, and that saves us a little bit of time. So this trainer here, he leads an Ampharos. We need to set up Swords Dance to kill both of his Pokemon. This Ampharos will always use Thunder, and more often than not, Thunder will kill. It's kind of luck. If you reset, it might do less damage or in certain cases. So here it crit, so obviously that's going to kill. So we're just going to do a reset and try again. I think only one time I've seen a miss out of that Thunder, which is the best situation, because we don't need to heal for the next fight. It might actually be right here. So kind of irrelevant to Hawlucha, but all of the Pokemon here have are holding air balloons, which means they do they can't take damage from ground type attacks. Here we got a really strange combination of Cotton Spore and Signal Beam, which did all of 15 damage. So that was a very interesting fight. Slow, but it was relatively free. So we won't need to heal for the next fight, even though we did take a little bit of damage. It's just not worth it to heal a small bit of HP. So as you can see in this gym, we're still getting that massive boost to experience with the Lucky Egg, plus the game deciding to be nice to us. This guy here leads a Luxray, and Luxray can have Intimidate, and if he does have Intimidate, we have to use a second Swords Dance on his second Pokemon. So we're going to have to do that here, because you just saw Intimidate was activated. And that our second Swords Dance is necessary to kill only one of his Pokemon. The other three will actually maybe actually the third and the fourth one won't die. But the Luxray goes down. So his next Pokemon is a Pachirisu, which tends to use Super Fang, Hyper Fang, something other than an electric type move, which is very good because those do very little damage. And so we're free to actually do another setup here as well. We do heal the full just in case he does decide to use Discharge, as you see here. But overall, if we did use Discharge twice, we would have been okay. Another Rock Slide coming up, so the Rotom we need to use Rock Slide on. That's one of the pokes that won't die to +1 attack. I don't know if the Electros would either. So that was fairly, well, they were a little slow, but fairly okay first two fights of this gym. The next trainer is the Fangirl Claire. She's got Flying type Pokemon. Obviously we need to set up on these, so we need to be fully healed. And this is the first and only time we're going to use the Wide Lens, which is what we picked up. Actually, that's not true. We're going to be using the Wide Lens a lot later, but this is the first time we use the Wide Lens. Because here we're going to need to use a lot of Rock Slides, and we really can't afford to miss any of them. So the Wide Lens essentially gives us a similar type of boost that an X Accuracy would. I'm not sure if it's exactly the same, but it's roughly the same. So all of my Rock Slides will be almost 100% accurate. I think it's high 90s for sure. There is still a chance to miss, but it's very slim. So we'll need to Rock Slide 4 of her Pokemon. The other 2 will go down to Wing Attack. So this Mantine is one of them. So we typically Rock Slide the Skarmory, I think for firstly to save Brick Break PP, secondly because Skarmory can have Sturdy. You can also get a flinch out of Rock Slide as well, so that's pretty good. And also Skarmory doesn't do a lot of damage with Air Slash, so it's relatively safe to just not even heal and go ahead and get the two hit there. Alright, just one more poke left. As you can see, we're almost at level 120, so we're going to hit that 2 Frights from now. So coming up next will be the second fight with Corlett in this run. So unlike Tobias, Corlett pretty much has the exact same team as he did in Elite Four. Obviously a little bit higher level, and I think his pokes are in slightly different orders. Well, I know for sure he still leads the same Pokemon and ends with the same one. His Pokemon also have different items as well, so the strategy is a little bit different. We're going to put the Lucky Egg back on again because we want to just get as much that experience that's left to get out of the way early. So once again, he leads a Lantern, which has a pretty similar moveset to before. Discharge, Hydro Pump, Aqua Ring, and Charge. This time we're going to set up 3x Special Defense. This is because, well, Lantern does a lot of damage, because he's actually a little bit closer in level than he was last time. And the Magnezone at the end, not only does he have Zap Cannon, but he also has an Electric Gem, which is doing very similar to what this Water Gem was doing for Lantern here, and it's boosting that type move. So we get a very powerful Zap Cannon coming our way if it hits here. So we have to get 3x Special Defense up. We also use an X Speed, and the reason for that is I believe the Electros has a Focus Sash, or a Choice Sash, which boosts, which gives a 50% boost to speed, similar to the Choice Specs and the Choice Band. You're only allowed to use one move, but you get that massive boost to your stats. So we have to set up those 3 Special Defense, the X Speed, also get off 2 Swords Dances, and then ideally take no more damage after a heal. And luckily we got Charge, so we're able to finish off Lantern without taking any damage. Very important because the Magnezone hitting us with Zap Cannon will do a lot of damage. So actually, yeah, Corlett's, this Corlett fight, pokes come out in exactly the same order as they do in the Elite Four. Just to check that for sure. So this fight can be quite annoying if Lantern criticals and we're pretty much done our setup. That's pretty awful. We have to do a reset and it just wastes a whole lot of time. Alright, that's Ampharos, and then one left. We have Magnezone, so we're really hoping to not see Zap Cannon. We do need to use Wing Attack turn 1 because he can have Sturdy. Bit of a safe play here. Instead, bizarrely, we got Metal Sound. I've never seen that before. But that's good because we don't need to heal for the next fight coming up. And we got through pretty cleanly, so can't complain there. And that's another gold split, which is really good. So coming up, we're pretty much move on to our next route. However, if we deposited our slave at the Pokemon Center, if our strength slave couldn't learn Rock Climb, we would pick up a free Pansage from one of the houses down south there. That takes a little bit of time, but we get our Rock Climb slave for free. We don't need to catch anything extra. So a quick menu, we're going to equip the Lucky Egg again. We're going to use a Repel and teach Rock Climb to Cubone. We would also heal if we needed to, but obviously we don't. So the next section is going to be a lot of underwater. Surf to the very top row of tiles there because the cave entrance is right there. We're going to go pick up a rare candy here. And now you might be wondering, I'm already almost at level 120. Why would I need a rare candy? Well, this rare candy is actually for our main Pokemon we're going to be using in the Aroma region, which is the section after the Sigil Halls. We can't pick up any rare candies in Aroma prior to that point where we need it, so we actually pick up a rare candy in Vesryn and save it all the way for Aroma. If we need to pick up that free Pansage, there's a rare candy that we can get closer to where that house is, and we wouldn't pick up this underwater candy. So there's kind of a choice there of which candies to pick up. There's the last of our experience, so we're now at level 120, and we have we gain no more experience points, and obviously fights will go a little bit quicker now. The main disadvantage is we're only about halfway through the Sigil Halls, and a lot of these fights come out feeling like you're doing them for nothing because you don't really get anything out of them. Good explosion there from Claydol. That saves a wing attack a little bit quicker. I believe I made a mistake in this section, but I'm not 100% sure. We'll see later. We saw I put on the wide lens because the Lucky Egg obviously is no longer useful, and now we don't have to worry about missing rock slides. Well, there's a very slim chance, but it's not too big of a likelihood for that to happen. This Skuntank can have Explosion, so I'm a little surprised I didn't heal, but luckily we didn't get that. I actually do elect to heal here. I think I just forgot to, because Skuntank can have Aftermath, which I think it deals about a quarter of my health in damage. Got the burn there, that was really unlucky. And then he blew up. I always found it amusing that the Skuntank can learn Explosion when it's a skunk. But I'm not going to complain. We're just gonna restore a bit of Brick Break PP and heal as well. So a lot of these fights now that the Pokemon we're facing are getting closer to ours, we're still gonna start taking a lot of damage in the setup. So a lot of the time we're gonna be healing in between fights. That soak is kind of annoying. Seeking sometimes tries to use Horn Drill, and obviously you need to be a higher level in this game to use it. So this Luminian might not die to Wing Attack because of that soak. Yep. And luckily, because we're water type, bounce is no longer super effective, so that did almost no damage. So that was a little slow, but no big deal. So here's the first significant mistake of the run. I'm actually backtracking. I lost track of where I was, and I ended up going the wrong way. And I didn't realize it until I was all the way back at the beginning. So I elected to reset, and that actually saved me a bit of the backtracking, but not all. Probably cost me about a minute and a bit, I would say. We just get to hear this pretty good music over and over and over again. So I elected not to repel there, just to save repels, because I used a few extras. Luckily I didn't get any encounters in the grass there. And once again, we meet up with Team Olympus. Here, because Gyarados used Hyper Beam, I get a free turn of setup, so I decided to use another Swords Dance. The reason for that is because his last Pokemon may not die to Brick Break with one Swords Dance. Obviously, Gyarados has Intimidate, so we'd be +1 attack. But when we're +3, it's a guaranteed kill. So I just decided to take advantage of that. That'll be the Golduck here. Could have probably also wing attacked him, but... So in this fight, I'm going to be using Brick Break on all 3 pokes. I need to be checking how many Brick Breaks I have, and I think I had 8 left. That's a pretty significant... This is a pretty significant part of the run, because I believe I do lose a bit of time on the next fight, because I wasn't sure how many Brick Breaks I had left. So if my math is correct, I should have 5 left for the next fight. Because I think I ran out on the fight, even though I needed 5 for the fight, so I was very confused. But I'll check when we get into the fight as well. So coming up's a bit, another bit of a cutscene. I could take the heal with that nurse, and I have done that in the past, but I thought my PP was okay, so I elected not to heal because I can heal right after. So here we see the Team Olympus admin gets warped away by Jake, who's picked up a brand new legendary Pokemon. Luckily, Jake doesn't have Klefki, but this Feraligatr can be quite annoying. It knows Ice Fang, which can do a fair bit of damage. And we do have to set up 2 Swords Dances here. Luckily, we got Dragon Claw turn 2, so that's good. I decided to use a 3rd Swords Dance. Can't remember why, but... So probably could have wing attacked the Feraligatr. Brick Break on Jirachi. Here we see the new Pokemon he's picked up. This is a dark type Pokemon, so Brick Break is super effective. Bit of a lag when he dies as well. It's bizarre. Could have probably also wing attacked the Scrafty as well. So here I realized I had no more Brick Break PP, so I had to use Rock Slide. Now unfortunately I only had 1 Rock Slide left. And we died. So this was a very bizarre situation. I was a little bit surprised that I ran out. I had 5 brick breaks going into this fight, and I used 5 somehow on 4 Pokemon. So something must have had pressure. I'm not sure what. It wasn't the Feraligatr, I know that for sure. It probably wasn't the Scrafty either. But I probably could have used Wing Attack on Feraligatr and Scrafty, and I would have been okay. Setting up that 3rd Swords Dance on Feraligatr actually proved to be a very good situation, because I was able to do about half the health of the Aggron with Rock Slide. But now, unfortunately, I have to use Wing Attack. And Wing Attack is 4 times not very effective against Aggron, so it takes about 5 or 6 hits if I recall correctly. So I haven't had a chance to figure out why that happened when it did. But that was this is a pretty bad split. Probably the worst split on the whole run. These Sigil Halls were going extremely well up till this point. Then we take the Nurse Heal here. It's just a quick free heal. We don't have to go into a center. And here we just have to dodge a few more trainers. Man, this split was really bad. And now we're in our next city, which this is actually the next city, Underwater City, Magior City. Actually, no, Skadar City. We were actually just at Magior, never mind. So this is the water type gym. Unfortunately, a lot of the Pokemon in this gym know Psychic type moves and Ice type moves, including the Slowking here. We have to set up 2 Swords Dances on this guy, but because he knows Psychic, we have to use X Special Defense. We're really hoping to see the move Trump card. I think that's a physical attack that does very little damage. As you can see, didn't do a whole lot. Psych Up is okay as well. So that wasn't terrible, but it wasn't good either. And here we're introduced to the Pokemon we probably fight the most in the whole run, which is Ludicolo. We'll be fighting him a lot in the Aroma and post-Aroma sections. But we get to see 2 of them on the first 2 trainers here. this Quagsire can live. Luckily that time it didn't, so that is good. I'm really looking for as many time saves as possible on this split after 2 pretty serious mistakes in the underwater section. So really good. This fight didn't take any damage as well, which we need to be fully healed for the next fight, because the next fight we're fighting against another fanboy of the Elite Four. His name is Freeman, and he has ice types. His lead has Blizzard, and so obviously that could kill it with a critical, so we have to be fully healed, and we do save before this fight as well. And then everything else goes down relatively easily. I believe we do see Hail from one of his Pokemon, his second last, but that's pretty much unavoidable. So I'll briefly just talk about what's going to happen on the Morgan fight. So Morgan here has a completely different team to what she had in the Elite Four. In fact, I don't think any of the Pokemon she had in the Elite Four make an appearance here. This team is a lot more difficult. We have to set up on a Swampert. Swampert's a pretty bulky type Pokemon. We need 2 Swords Dances to take him out. Well, I guess we use Wing Attack on him, so we probably could get him with a 1 for a Brick Break. But anyway, we need to set up 2 Swords Dances. He also has a number of pretty nasty moves. He's got Waterfall and Ice Punch, and also Stone Edge. So actually, we really want to see Stone Edge because, well, Waterfall is a stab for him, and Ice Punch is super effective, whereas Stone Edge is neutral damage. So we really want to see Stone Edge. We are actually going to set up an X Defend to minimize the amount of damage he does and the amount of times we have to heal. Because if we don't set up the X Defend, he can probably 2-shot us with Ice Punch. So we really don't want that to happen. Yeah, he probably would have gotten us in 2 hits. Instead, now he's going to probably get us in 3. Probably could have risked it and gone for the next setup, but he froze, so that's an insta-heal right there. Got Waterfall. That does a little less than Ice Punch, but still does a fair amount. Get another Ice Punch. Here I elect to heal. We are going to need to be fully healed for the next Pokemon. We could heal on the next Pokemon, but it's no big deal. And we can finally take him out. I forgot he has the Life Orb as well, so he does a little bit of damage to himself every turn, so that's why Wing Attack is necessary. This Gyarados has a Focus Sash, so that's why I use Wing Attack. Rock Slide would have killed, and Wing Attack would have killed either as well. Here he's using Bounce, so I just elect to heal to full. But luckily Bounce can't paralyze because we have Limber ability, so another situation where Limber really is useful. There's probably about 20 different situations in this run where you could get paralyzed, but you don't because of Limber. Three Pokemon left. They all usually go down in one hit. Her last Pokemon can live because it does have a Mega Evolution. And that would be Blastoise. Not the first time we're going to be seeing Blastoise in this run. We do see him in the last Sigil Hall as well. Sometimes he doesn't die. This case he didn't, but we got Dragon Pulse, and thankfully that didn't kill. I think I healed because she uses the full restore. So I think I ended up just using Wing Attack twice or something like that instead, yeah, rather than risk. Brick Break PP are also quite limited, so if I'm gonna waste anything, I better waste Wing Attacks. And that's Morgan down. So that split was just absolutely awful. I lost over 4 minutes due to a couple mistakes, a little bit of bad luck, but that's pretty much the only blemish so far. All the other splits were pretty solid. And that's the 3rd out of 4 Sigil Halls done. And just stopping the video there because that's the end of part 4. We'll pick it up for the remainder of the Sigil Halls in part 5, so stay tuned.